Yes.
Can you hear the guitar?
I can hear the guitar.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Hari Jasodhanandana Rajajana Ranjana Munatira Munachodi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Hari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Prabhupada 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 Gurudev 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 Jai Om Swa Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivikacharya So there is of the divine grace of our Sharavinda Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Radhe. Okay, the last minute thing. Do you have the verse? I don't have a book here.
Yeah, I do. Give me a second.
Sure.
We can share some realizations that Purusha Prabhu while I'm pulling up the verse.
Realizations, we realize that glorifying Krishna is appropriate. Oh, glory, how wonderful is Krishna. We were listening to Vaisheshekha Prabhu's class last night, and along the side of the margin, there's other little pictures, and I realized that I'd already listened to the class that I clicked on like 6 times. So I went to click on one of the other pictures for another one of his classes, and I clicked on accidentally a different picture. Somebody named Richard Pryor. Do you know who Richard Pryor is?
No.
Some kind of comedian, and Robin Williams, Richard Pryor and Robin Williams. And it was the format that they had was called a roast. So a roast means that one person stands at the microphone and the other person sits in his chair, and the person at the microphone is criticizing, ridiculing the other person. Which is kind of like the opposite of the format for the Bhagavatam class. We're here to glorify Krishna. So we want to remember that this Richard Pryor and Robin Williams program is not exactly, not just here to ridicule people who are less than fully dedicated to devotional service, although those activities are useless and even cause of suffering. So you're trying to bring up the verse. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Can you see it?
I got it. Okay. It says there, Brahma Babas Tatatratya Munibir Naradadhi Tiva Sacharai Sakam. Tiva Sanucharai Sakam Girbir Varshanam Aidayan. Synonyms. No synonyms. Translation. Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, accompanied by great sages like Narada, Devala, and Vyas, and by other demigods like Indra, Chandra, and Varuna, invisibly approached the room of Devaki, where they all joined in offering their respectful obeisances and prayers to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who can bestow blessings upon everyone. Srila Prabhupada's purport is Divine Grace. Dalbhuta Sogal Lokeshmin, Daiva Asura Eva Cha, from the Padma Purana. There are two classes of men, the Daivas and the Asuras. And there is a great difference between them. Kamsa, being an Asura, was always planning how to kill the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or his mother, Devaki. Thus, in one sense, he was also Krishna conscious. But devotees are Krishna conscious favorably. Vishnu Bhakta Smriti Daiva. Brahma is so powerful that he is in charge of creating an entire universe. Yet he personally came to receive the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Baba, Lord Shiva, is always jubilant in chanting the holy name of the Lord. What to speak of Narada? Narada Muni Bhaja Vina Radhika Ramana Name. Narada Muni is always chanting the glories of the Lord. How wonderful is Krishna. And his engagement is to travel all over the universe and find a devotee or make someone a devotee. Even a hunter was made a devotee by the grace of Narada. Srila Sanatana Goswami in his Toshani says that the word Narada Adibi means that Narada and the demigods were accompanied by other saintly persons like Sanatan, all of whom came to congratulate or welcome the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even though Kamsa was planning to kill Devaki, he too awaited the arrival of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pratikshams Taj Janma. Pratikshams Taj Janma. Okay. Omigantimarandhyasya Gananjanan Shalakaya. Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My spiritual master is kindly opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. Let us offer respectful obeisances unto him again and again. So we ask everyone to offer a prayer. Please make a prayer. Please everyone pray right now. Take a moment to pray to Krishna, to bless us. That what we have to say is only what we've heard from Guru and Shastra, with no distortion and no inappropriate motivation. Please pray to Krishna that we say what Krishna wants to say today. Not what I want to say. What I wanted to say was, when I hear that, I'm like, oh, that's good that you want to say. But behind that is the idea that we want to say what Krishna wants to say to this particular group of people at this particular stage of their spiritual development in this time and circumstance, although the Shastra is very broad and applies to all circumstances. So thank you very much for praying like that. Krishna's blessing. We're reading a verse about the difference between a devotee and a demon. And here the devotees are coming to welcome Krishna, to glorify Krishna, to offer their respects in order to please Krishna. Blessings are there, but they're not exactly seeking blessings. They're trying to please the Lord, and automatically, as a byproduct, the benefit, the purification is there. Wonderful verses in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam describe the effect of coming together to glorify the Lord. We're here to glorify the Lord together. We invite everyone at any moment. You can put your finger on that mute button and let's hear what you have to say, because we're glorifying the Lord together. Just like here, we're seeing so many great sages and demigods coming to glorify the Lord. Sankirtan, together we're glorifying the Lord. Shunvitam Svakita Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Vidyantasto Vabhadrani Vidinoti Saritsatam. Supreme Lord, the Paramatma, the Super Soul, the Lord in the heart of every living entity, cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who relishes his messages. This is a wonderful benefit. We're being sanctified, purified, just by glorifying the Lord. It's automatic. So much upliftment.
I wanted to share something, Adipusha Prabhu.
Please, we want to hear you.
Yeah, we were in Times Square yesterday night for New York City Harinam's 10th anniversary. And there was this giant robot who was walking around. There's a man in a costume of this Transformer robot. Did you watch Transformers, Adipusha Prabhu? No? It's a giant thing made out of plastic or I don't know what. And it's making this robotic sounds. And it's huge, it's tall. And so this robot came up to Gaurangi and tried to hug her. And but his fingers were the size of her head. So he couldn't, he just kind of grabbed her. And instead of hugging, it was very kind of crude move. And she got not scared, but she was like, oh. So, and I was thinking, yeah, there's a person inside of that robot. So that's like a soul, that's me. And all these giant plastic fingers that I can't even hug anything with. So those are my material desires. That just made me think of that analogy. That it's very hard to pet a kitten when you have giant cardboard fingers. But when you realize that there is a person inside of that crude body and you act like one, then you can pet a kitten. Or a horse. Bhima Prabhu is petting a horse. Or preaching to a horse. Yeah.
Preaching to a horse.
Bhima Prabhu.
Okay. In the ordinary, in the normal condition, everyone loves everyone. Underneath everything, everyone loves everyone. You can't change that. It's a fact. We've forgotten how to express it, or we misinterpret, or we approach each other in less than loving ways. So that goes on, but there's also a normal loving exchange. And we are loving beings. And the process of purification, a wonderful thing, I always quote this, Rupa Goswami says, if we reawaken our dormant love for Krishna, if we reawaken our dormant love for Krishna, then our genuine affection for every other living entity will be there. Right?
Yeah, every time we come to class, we take off this transformer outfit and we become real every morning.
Yeah.
And that's my realization.
Bringing us back to the genuine level of affection. I was reflecting in the Bible, there's a lot of instances where these celestial beings like angels appear. The angel Gabriel appeared to Mary to announce that the Lord was asking her to take care of the appearance of Jesus. And every time one of these super spiritual beings like the Vishnu Dutas appears, you know what the first thing they say is?
How wonderful is Krishna, I guess.
No. The first thing they say is, don't be afraid. Because when we see this glowing, angelic form that's not like a normal human being, there's apprehension. There's that people are intimidated. What is it? Who are you? It's okay. We're the good guys. we're coming from Krishna. Sometimes on Sankirtan, we would approach people and they would say, and we would say, it's okay, we're the good guys. There have to be some good guys, otherwise we're all in trouble, right? And they go, oh, okay, you're the good guys. Good. They're the good guys, and then we would explain to them what we're doing and give them a chance to engage in devotional service. Gaurangi was intimidated by that, gigantic robotic form and uncomfortable. But you're right, underneath everything, somebody loves you. And the demoniac response, somebody like Kamsa, he's inimical. He hates Krishna. He wants to kill Krishna. He wants to replace Krishna with himself. That's how, when we're acting like demons, we want to be the center of the universe instead of serving Krishna. And all kinds of conflict comes from that. International conflict between neighbors, conflict between husband and wife, conflict between parents and children, this false ego. Me, I want it this way.
Does that mean that I want to replace my wife with myself?
You want to replace Krishna with yourself. We want,
okay.
In the conditioned state, we're trying to make ourselves the big deal. What I want should be, and somebody else is thinking, no, what I want, it should be the way I want it. No, I want it like this. I want it like that. But then, if we can actually step back and say, and each of us say, well, let's see what Krishna wants, right? What is Krishna? What do you want to say? How do you want us to act? This what the material perspective is that resources are limited. There's not enough. And so people are contentious. But when what we want is devotional service to Krishna, there's no shortage. There's unlimited devotional service to Krishna available. So there's no need for conflict. There's no need for arguments. So we shift, the solution is to, for somebody, the adult in the room, helps to remind everyone of Krishna. And that's the devotee's duty. And that's our contribution to human society. And Prabhupada said, there's no shortage of anything except Krishna consciousness. When we bring in the possibility of devotional service, then all problems are solved. I'm been up through the night. I'm actually trying to fight off falling asleep here in class. But through the night, the different things that were needed to take care of arriving guests. We had one dramatic incident at midnight. Jordy arrived with 5 friends. Nanda Bihari.
Yeah, was it dramatic?
They came in for a very smooth landing, laughed at all the jokes, and then we explained to them no smoking, vegetarian, and we told them that we hope that being here you'll be encouraged to choose to desire to fill your whole life with the service of God. And they were like, oh, wow, okay, yeah. They just splashed down into the conversation the possibility of devotional service to Krishna. And they all took rest after a long journey. Coming in after midnight, it was probably like 5 o'clock in the morning in Spain. They came from Barcelona. So such a wonderful thing receiving. We did listen to one class by Shekhar Boo last night, and he was talking about, the verse was from the Bhagavatam in the 2nd canto, about how when a person returns home after a difficult journey, he said the word travel is related to the word travail or difficulty and uncomfortable, being out of your normal place, out of your comfort zone. And then when you return home, you are where everything is in order, according to your, supposedly, according to your arrangements. Returning home after a difficult journey is so soothing, and you become satisfied. So he was comparing that to like, like Srila Prabhupada's mantra, back home, back to Godhead. Let's get back home. Let's get back to where we really belong. We're not from Barcelona. We're not from the Ukraine. We're from Krishna. We saw Janavi yesterday coming into the Bhakti Center and welcomed her with respect and affectionate, warm welcome words. And I said to her, Krishna gave me, I said, your home is Kirtan. When someone asks you your address, you should say Kirtan. Where do you live? Kirtan. That's where we live. It's not a geographical location. It's a quality of consciousness.
Yeah, when we don't chant, we're homeless.
Oh, yeah. We mentioned that bumper sticker. If you don't feel close to God, guess who moved? Right? We've drifted away from devotional service. We've just drifted away from the consciousness of I'm Krishna's servant. I'm satisfied to serve you, Lord. Narayana Parasave Nakutashina Pipiti Svarga Prabhaga Narkesh. It says a devotee is satisfied in heaven or hell. We don't care if we go to heaven or hell. If we go to hell, we'll serve Krishna. Under any circumstance. If the Lord puts you in a palace, we're satisfied in the palace. If the Lord puts you on the street, we're satisfied on the street. No matter what the conditions. What's that Mataji Kaushalya? She was traveling in India. Some of the devotees were traveling with Srila Prabhupada. And at one point they were at a very wealthy family's house, and it was a very celestial, opulent situation. And then they went to Kumbh Mela, and they were in tents, living in these temporary cloth shelters. And Prabhupada said, for us, it doesn't matter what the accommodation is. What our real shelter is serving the Lord. So many problems, one solution, devotional service. Devotional service is the life of the soul. It's our life's breath. And Krishna is always available. How wonderful is Krishna? Always giving us access. At any moment, under any situation, you can say, Lord, thank you for this situation. How can I serve you under this circumstance? And it may appear to be a humble effort, or maybe something extravagant. Yesterday at Krishna's Prasad distribution for the homeless, we had a congresswoman, Carlina Rivera, came out there. Angel called up the office of the congresswoman and said, hey, come out and see. And she came there with her assistant. And it's very interesting seeing Krishna's Prasad distribution through somebody else's eyes. What do they think? I told her, well, this is a very humble effort. It's not, it's a massive operation, but we're doing our humble best, and we hope we can please the Lord. And she was saying, no, this is extraordinary. This is big. And we were saying, no, it's little. She said, no, but it's if you're pleasing God, then that makes it big. Very interesting realization. Wise girl. I hesitate to say this. We can see that people are suffering. Anybody who's drifted away from pure devotional service to Krishna is suffering. They're in an alien environment. The soul is not comfortable. Prabhupada always gives that analogy. You take a fish out of water, you give him a cigar, you give him a big car, you give him a girlfriend, but he's not quite feeling normal until he returns to the water. So that is our environment. That is our home. So we encourage everyone. Anyone have any realizations about this verse about the distinction between the demoniac and the devotees? How they act, what they want. Andrea?
Hare Krishna, Adi Purusha, Das Prabhu. I was actually wondering if you could share some inspiring stories of some of these people that come to stay at your, is it like a, I guess like a ashram or a hostel?
Well, we have guest rooms.
Yeah, like guest rooms, just because that's so unique. And I would love to hear how they like change or what they do. It sounds beautiful.
Yeah, we're not just looking. Here's your room. Give me the money. You know, you want the best price and the best room. This
large bed, no smoke.
bed.
I mean, large bed. Yeah.
Yeah, they call me Adikashipu sometimes. This lady came from California with her daughter. I think I told this story in class before. Sometimes I don't understand Mataji's when they talk, and she was talking to me about this house plant. I had this house plant. I was like, okay. And I had it for a few years. It was on the windowsill. And then one day it died. I was like, okay, where's she going with this? It just quietly, I put it back to the earth and I saved the flower pot. It was a nice flower pot. I said, why is this girl telling me this? Krishna. And then she said, my marriage died just like that. Oh, God. They come at you with these things about their life somehow. She said it just quietly died. There was no screaming and yelling. It wasn't dramatic. But somehow or other, my husband and I looked at each other and there was nothing there. We couldn't pretend. And then he went away. It was like heartbreaking, when you have this, companion and soulmate and, husband, wife. And then most of the marriages in New York City break down. If you go to the grammar school around the corner and you go to the second grade where the children are 8 years old, and you ask 25 children, how many of you, your father slept in the same house where you slept last night? Most of them will say no. So the marriages break down, and this girl's marriage broke down. And so she was sharing that with me. And she said, now I had a daughter. I have a daughter. She's 9 years old now. So 24/7 for the last 9 years, I've been taking care of my daughter. We have a very close relationship, mother and daughter. It's very sweet. But she's growing up. 9 years old, going on 16. They grow up like that, right? You've seen that. And she said, and she's becoming her own person. She has her own way of looking at the world, her own desires. And I'm thinking, is my relationship with my dear daughter, will this dissolve like the house plant and she'll go away? And she said, I want to do something to restore this relationship, to do something to nourish it. We'll go on a trip. We'll go to New York. So they came from California to New York. They stayed in the guest room. She said, we'll sleep in the same room. We'll go around the city day and night. We'll do this. We'll do that. We'll eat together. We'll play together. We'll look at different things. And, maybe there'll be some bonding. She said, so we were here for several days and nothing was happening. I still felt this disconnect. And then she said, but then we came out and we were distributing the meals to the homeless people. And I looked at my daughter and she looked at me. And I said to myself, wait a minute, what happened? We're here. We're on the same page. There's an opening. There's a softening. What happened? What did that? I said to her, well, because you were serving God, which is your normal activity. And you were both doing that. You were together on the spiritual platform. Maybe with your husband you had a physical relationship, a mental relationship, an emotional relationship. But were you serving God together? Were you encouraging each other in faith? in study of scripture, in worship, and in serving the Lord. If we neglect that, that's our relationship. Nanda Bihari and I, we're serving Krishna together. And it's wild, I'm telling you. We go 24/7. We've got dozens and dozens of guests coming, going, this personality, this situation, But that's our relationship. And it's grounded in pleasing Krishna. And that's how we show our love for each other. The first marriage I saw in Krishna consciousness. I told this so many times. I think it was Kuladri who was giving a class before the marriage. And these two sweet young devotees, and he said to them, so you love each other? And they said, yeah. And you want that love to grow and grow and grow? Yeah. And he said, okay, so that's good. Now you have two choices. If you encourage each other in your sadhana, if you encourage each other in making sacrifices for Krishna's service, if you encourage each other in the faith in your spiritual master, in trying to please the Lord, in trying to give Krishna consciousness to others, your love will grow and grow forever. But if all you do is sparsajang, rub each other's skin and facilitate each other's material enjoyment, you will lose respect for each other, you'll lose respect for yourself, you'll fight like cats and dogs, and you'll be miserable. Okay, let's have the marriage. I was like, whoa. But that's a paradigm, Serve Krishna, everything else will be there. Neglect that, minimize that, decrease that, forget how important that is, and gradually you'll fight about nothing. The selfish impetus arises. So that's one story. I have hundreds of stories, Andrea. You'll have to call me. I could talk for hours. There's Krishna. It's Krishna.
Tell him the vampire story. There was a vampire who came to stay.
Relates. One time when we were in the Bhakti Center here, we were taking care of 5 apartments of the guest program. And the office was in apartment 4W. And there was some guest rooms there. And all of a sudden there was this character in the room coming into the office. I was thinking, how did he get in the building? He didn't call up or I didn't buzz him in. I want the room. I said, okay. Okay. So, here there's no smoking and this is a vegetarian place. We ask you not to bring any dead animals in here. No meat, no fish, no egg. He said, no blood? I said, no blood. I was thinking, this guy's pulling my leg, right? He had a cape, and a black clothing. And then the next day when I went in the room, if you look at these rooms upstairs, they have these, like in the temple room, there's these sprinkler pipes running along the ceiling, right? And I noticed nobody slept in the bed, but on the sprinkler pipe, there were 2 places where there was no dust. It looked like he hung upside down on the sprinkler pipe in the room, But the funniest part when he's going, no blood. I said, no blood. But we hope he benefited because we used the Lakshmi he gave to help distribute Krishna's prasadam. But so many different Krishnas are real hilarious, He had so much fun with us. Yeah, Andrea, write down this phone number. Call me up. I'll tell you like 100 stories. Krishna's unbelievable. The things that happen, the people that come, and they come from all over the universe. I don't think they just come from other countries. There are people coming from other planets that come and stay in the bed and breakfast, really. What is that thing, Will Smith? Will Smith, he has a film about men in black, and he tells the aliens who are coming, all right, you can only go out at night and only in the East Village, right? We tell the guests, that's where you're staying. You're staying in the East Village. So, unusual people, but they take prasadam. There's wonderful pictures everywhere in the rooms and in the dining area.
So are vampires in Shastra then, Adi Purusha Prabhu?
Yeah, there's all kinds of creatures, even like the jinn, like the elves, and the the hobgoblins, right? Which he would take care of all the ghosts and the strange people who have a very strange position in the material world. We were talking the other day about Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. We were resting in a guest room near the temple in Philadelphia. And in the night, these three ghosts came in the room and he was preaching to them. So there's a lot of different kinds of personalities. But
That's us, Andrea. Andrea, that's us. Vampires, goblins, elves.
Well,
That's us. And Srila Prabhupada came and saved us from being a goblin.
now, if a person with 4 arms or 6 arms and green skin landed in a flying saucer in front of the Bhakti Center, we would tell them, you're not that body. You're a spirit soul. You're the servant of Krishna, right? Right? So it's applicable, no matter where they come from. But the guest program is interesting because people come and they stay with us. We did this for 6 years inside the Bhakti Center. And when I first suggested it, because we had been collecting to obtain the building and renovating the building, and then we installed Radha Muralidhar here. But we still had a mortgage to pay, so we started the guest program here as one way to generate Lakshmi. And the devotee, you're going to have karmis stay in the building? I said, well, it's a ministry. They're actually, Vaishya Shekhar Babu was just saying last night, he was reading something from the Bhagavatam, unless a householder receives guests in their house, they're nothing more than an animal. I was like, wow, that's in the Bhagavatam. So receiving guests is one of the sacrifices that a married couple is supposed to perform. Supposed to bring children into the world, that's a sacrifice. You're supposed to offer, different kinds of worship. And you're supposed to give in charity. You're supposed to distribute prasadam to everyone, just like we have the prasadam distribution for the homeless, Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people every week. We're just spending $10,000 a month to distribute Krishna's prasadam here in the East Village, Tompkins Square Park. And that's our sacrifice as householders. We're in this, Prabhupada said, you can choose to be in the householder ashram or in the brahmachari ashram, but then strictly follow the principles of that ashram. Jai Jagannath Prabhu was giving class a while ago about the different sacrifices. The brahmachari has the sacrifice of, helping with the preaching and studying the shastra. And the householder is supposed to give in charity, distribute prasadam, receive guests. Some people don't even have an extra chair at the table to receive a guest for dinner. Prabhupada's father was receiving sadhus and guests every day, Prabhupada said. What to speak of having them stay with you? We have this guest apartment here in the East Village. My sister came and she said, are you out of your mind? You let people come and stay in your house? I mean, they could, in the middle of the night, come and chop you up in pieces. You don't even know who you got come. We told them, well, we have something to share. And Krishna is sending these people. And we see again and again and again how they benefit by coming around the devotees. We pray for them. Last night before Jordy and his crew came in, I was putting some fragrance in the air offered to Krishna, so that even as they were coming up the stairs, Nanda Vihari, they were breathing, taking prasadam, just by breathing.
Yeah, Adi Purusha Prabhu spreads, offers air freshener to Krishna. That's quite radical.
It's better than air freshener. It's essential oils, fragrances. But whatever they look at, whatever they eat, whatever they hear, whoever they meet, all the devotees work there. Jagadatri Mataji is chanting 16 rounds. Emily's chanting 16 rounds. Jason's chanting 16 rounds. Angel's chanting 16 rounds. Theodore's chanting 16 rounds. Nanda Vihar is chanting 16 rounds. They're all practicing Krishna consciousness. This man was telling us recently, why is everybody here so nice to me? You know, they sense the fact that we're praying for them. You have to come and see it. We invite people to actually come and stay. Dhanadhar Maharaj has been there a few times. Jayadvaita Maharaj came, Radhanath Swami came, Kadambakana Maharaj came, Vaisheshekha Prabhu was asking to come. All the management from the Bhakti Center have been there. And it's a very humble facility, but people are satisfied. Any other questions or comments? We really welcome hearing everybody's voice.
Hargawadi.
Dr. Shik, Hare Krishna.
Krishna, good morning.
Good morning. Please
I
accept.
was just thinking when you're introducing people to your program, it's kind of like you're reminding them of who they really are.
Right.
They're servants. And by your example, you're showing that that's the way they're supposed to be. That's the way they really are, their constitutional position. And sometimes we forget that and we become demons. Just like in the verse today, you know, we become a Kamsa and we have our selfish motives, and we want everyone else to have the same selfish motives as we do. Just reading a news article this morning about how, you know, Putin wants Russia to be like old Russia back in the Soviet Union, and Donald Trump likes the way it used to be, but Americans are going past that, you know. So we all want things the way they used to be, but we're actually servants. And I remember just reading the story of Mahaprabhu when he was revealing his...
Shikshashtakam Prabhu, how did you feel after reading the news in the morning? Did you feel good? Did you?
Well, I felt like this is an example of we try to control things, and we want things to be the way they always were, and we want other people to go along with us. But Krishna has his own plan. In other words, surrender means that we follow Krishna's plan. What do you want me to do instead of what I want to do? And that's the reason we have so much conflict in the world. I had the realization that the conflict is due to the fact that we're trying to control things in our own way instead of doing things Krishna's way. And that's actually the peace formula. But so I just made that.
Go ahead.
But anyway, I was just reading something yesterday that kind of drove that home, because Bhaktisiddhanta gives the purports to all these verses in Chaitanya Bhagavat. And Mukunda was the singer of Lord Chaitanya. You remember hearing that? He always used to sing. And Lord Chaitanya was revealing his Mahaprakash at Srivasa's house. And during that ceremony, everyone was there except Mukunda, because Lord Chaitanya didn't want him in that assembly. And nobody could understand why. And Mukunda was asked Srivas, why am I not allowed? And you know, he said, when will I be able to again see Lord Chaitanya? He thought he committed an offense, and he thought he would never see him again. And so he asked Srivas, when will I be able to see him? And he said, you'll be able to see him in a millions of births. And he started dancing because he realized that you will eventually be able to see him. And he thought he could never see him again. And so then he called him in. He said, you know, you were actually so offensive. He was hanging out with the wrong people, the Mayavadis, and he was disregarding devotional service. And so he said, but due to your faith in my word that you'd be able to see me in a million births, therefore all that time is wiped down to a single moment. So now you're very dear to me because you have that faith. You have conquered me by your attitude.
Right.
That
we had one guest, one point that you're making about people being influenced to come into the platform of devotional service. We had a famous musician from Iceland there, and he was there with his mother and his daughter and his wife for 2 weeks. And when he was leaving, he said, we did New York City. We went to see the beautiful things. We went to the botanical gardens. We went to the ballet. We went to the museums. We went to concerts. We went to sporting events. We ate at gourmet restaurants. We went to hear, beautiful music. But when we were out there feeding those people, it was the most satisfying experience we had here in New York. And I said to him, because you are a servant of Krishna. So when we're serving Krishna, we feel the most satisfied and most normal. So you're right. That's our strategy. We're trying to remind them of who they really are. And it's
Like
pretty simple.
You're greeting it to people as they, try to understand that we're all servants of Krishna somehow or other. Just by your example, you might not be able to say that right away, but by your kind of just by your association, they automatically start serving. But
when they come, we ask them to sit in the dining room, and then I go in the office, close the door, get down on my knees, put my head on the floor, and pray to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, this is your guest. This is Krishna's guest. Please show us how to care for them, how to see them, how to speak to them. Not to change them, but to change us so that we look at them appropriately, we speak to them appropriately, please. And then after we pray to Srila Prabhupada, then we go and we welcome them, explain to them the regulations, and give them their key and everything. So it's not exactly that we're doing it, but we're asking Krishna to work through us, and he does.
It seems like that's even a higher principle than the golden rule, that do unto others as you have them do unto you. It's actually do unto others as Krishna would have them. Just like you pray every morning before the Bhagavatam class, let me say exactly what Krishna wants me to say. Right. And we treat others exactly as Krishna would want us to treat them. So that's a really good way to look at every single personality that we come in contact with.
Okay. Let's see if anybody else has a contribution, comment, angle of vision, or something they're experiencing, testimony, reflection on what we spoke about.
Jamuna Jaya has a testimony.
Oh, well.
Yeah. She says she's an elf.
She's what?
She's an elf.
She's an elf?
She says, yeah.
She's definitely not from this world.
Yeah.
It's true. Another species of life. Angelica, you have something to say? I have a feeling.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for calling on me. I feel like my biggest takeaway is actually two. The second one just came to me, but it was really impactful for me to hear how your vision is so beyond the body that you just see every entity as servant of the Lord. And I feel like this is so instructive for me to just, whether we are dealing with, goblins or elves or especially in New York City, it's just such a dam full of really interesting personalities. But to actually come back to the vision that every single one of those personalities is looking for Krishna, has a spiritual spark in them, and is actually longing for devotional service and going back home, back to Godhead, is just such a beautiful realization.
It's a fact. Yeah, that's
Yes.
true. Prabhupada told us, I didn't know that. But everybody's got it in them. We spent decades on traveling Sankirtan, speaking to 200 people a day. And it's astounding how many of them engage in devotional service. It's eye-opening how much goodness, how much innocence there is in this world. And how every piece of wood has the potential to be fire, right? Isn't it? It could be pine, it could be oak, it could be cherry, it could be ash. But every single one of those pieces of wood can burn. And under the right circumstances, they become ignited. And people are like that. It's true. And that's the miracle. We believe in the miracle of devotional service, God's own internal spiritual energy, fully manifest in the spiritual master and the sound of Krishna's precious holy name. We've been given this gift, and therefore it's kind of interesting if we have something that we're doing that we can point to, that we can include people in. Just like this congresswoman yesterday. She said, I want to do this. It was kind of interesting, because she's like a, Kshatriya. She's a administrator and, a dignified, educated person with a high position in society. But when she saw, she was like reaching toward the table. I want to do this. Everybody has that, like you said, Angelica. They have a longing. It's something that, like life's breath. We were talking to one man, and he said, "Oh, I gave you a donation before." I said, "Well, sir, this is like a good habit, like breathing. I mean, you want to keep doing it." It's not been there, done that. Keep engaging in devotional service. Keep giving donations. Keep coming to the temple. Keep chanting the holy name.
Yeah, even a politician, someone who we blame here. I mean, everybody blames politicians for everything, but Adipusha Prabhu is not blaming. He's engaging a politician who is fighting for power, like every day, engaging them in devotional service. So that's glorious. Thank you, Adipusha Prabhu.
Actually, Angel is the one who talked to Carolina Rivera's secretary and told her, "Come out. You have to come out and see this." It's really interesting. Here they are, dignified administrator ladies, coming up to the table and just checking it out. And I said, "So we hope to expand this. We're doing what we can. It's not very big, but we hope to expand this." And you're more familiar with the halls of power. You never know. Maybe you never know. Maybe we can do something. Maybe we can help you. That's good. The Brahmins are supposed to approach the Kshatriyas. Bali Maharaj was approached by Vamanadev. The Brahmins, if they do their service, everybody else falls into place. We go to the people who are mercantile class, who are earning money. We ask them, "Would you like to give a donation? We're doing this project and such and such." And it's amazing. I was thinking they won't like it. They won't want it. Why would they give me a donation? They don't even know me. But people again and again. Oh, you're okay. I'll give something. And we're not asking for a heart transplant. Give something. Give
Bhima
Prabhupada.
Prabhu, did you have your hand raised?
We hope. Beamer.
Yeah, we're supposed to approach everybody, not just Kshatriyas or Vaishyas. We're supposed to approach everybody. Even in this purport, it says how Narada Muni approached this hunter. Hunters, as far as I understand, they live in the forest and they are considered below Shudras. They're kind of outside the society. And Narada Muni approached the guy, cruel guy, evil guy. He was torturing animals. And Narada Muni approached him. That's the mood that Adipusha Prabhu has. He approaches
Tell
everybody.
everyone you need.
Congresswomen, homeless people, everybody.
We have something to give. We've been given a great treasure, and Prabhupada said, "If you want to thank me, give what I gave you to someone else." Anyone can do this. Somebody was telling me recently, I have no facility to distribute prasadam. I said, "Well, offer a glass of water to Krishna and walk outside and pour it on a tree. You can do this. Do your humble best." Sent to one lady last night. We told her, "So you don't have time to come, so give $10 a week. Take some regular humble and say, 'This is the best I can do, Krishna.' And Krishna will be pleased." Andrea, what do you want to say? Please.
I'm just sharing links to your interfaith in the chat so that if others want to connect with what you're doing, they can do so.
The Instagram pictures, interfaith_NYC. Interfaith_NYC. Look at the pictures. Nanda Vihar has done a fantastic job recording. And the pictures speak more than I can say in words. It's so sweet. We're looking at the ones you took the other day. Gaurangi is shaking hands with this elderly lady who's getting prasadam. And the lady is just lit up by that loving exchange. And Gaurangi is smiling too. Amish, Kartik, anyone else, please?
Yeah, I think by now everybody is done doing their duties. So put your cameras on, uh, unmute yourself, glorify Krishna,
Jason,
contribute to class. It's recorded. It's going down in history. It's Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is going on. It's not that it's written and completed. It's going on.
My video has been disabled. Apparently something was seen that shouldn't be seen. Okay. Haribo.
there you are.
Haribo. Wonderful class. Adi Purusha always calls me up and we talk. He's been my saving grace, and he always tells me different stories. I have to actually be in a different situation to be able to relate.
What is it charging you per minute?
I tell you, it's worth it. It's priceless. I'm going through difficult times in the material world, so to speak. And Adi is like, he's like a comfort. He's very much a comfort. And he repeats to me the things that I know are true, but cannot remember in my illusion. So I just like to say that one of the important things in regards to reaching out to others and also getting along with our spouses is what he said is that everybody loves everybody. How is it you phrase it, Adi?
Underneath everything, everyone loves everyone.
Yeah, this is very important. Underneath everything. So it's not like you just say it, it's underneath everything. So everybody's like saying, okay, well, I am agitated right now. I am angry. I am hurt right now. But underneath it all, what are we all looking for? What are we all looking to do? We're looking for love and we're looking to connect. And the love comes on different platforms, whether it be, as the Christians say, brotherly love, filial love, sisterly love, agape, love of Krishna or love of God and love of the divine in each other. And I just love that because it's very simple. It's on a bumper sticker. It is shown by Adi Purusha's food relief program that no matter these people who are lining up to get this prasad, have no other means. It's not like they can just walk or would find themselves walking into the Bhakti Center or taking a yoga class. These are people to whom every night is a question mark. And yet Adi is there to give them prasad, which guarantees that in their next life, they will once again meet a devotee and take Krishna's mercy in some form or another. And I was talking to him the other day and he had the prasadam distribution going on, and in the background was Prabhupada singing. And I was like, because so there was this whole atmosphere. I wasn't even there, and I'm listening. He's talking to me, and I'm listening to them hand out the prasad and Prabhupada singing in the background. And we all know what that does to the deep down inside of us when we hear Prabhupada singing. Even when you're not a devotee, you are intrigued and you're mesmerized by the vibration that comes from Prabhupada. So I just want to thank you, Adi Purusha, and I want to thank all the devotees for allowing such a dacoit, a miscreant as myself to be a part of this group. Hare Krishna. And now you can disable my video and mute me lest I fall into some embarrassing situation. Hare Krishna.
Victoria was asking a really interesting question. She has a friend who's eating meat, and she was revealing that she felt uncomfortable in not having affection for this person. And Jesus said, love the sinner, hate the sin. I have to go. Verse of Prabhupada.
Okay. Hate the meat, love the meat eater. That's our takeaway for today. Thank you, everyone, for contributing to this class, for tuning in. Have a wonderful day. Give Krishna to everyone you meet, and you will have more Krishna this way, like Adi Purusha Prabhu teaches us this morning. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Love you all. Haribol.